In this presentation, I am going to look at Pandas series. So first off, some preliminaries. Actually, there's a load of preliminaries there. That's just a load of stuff I got on this Numpy file. Essentially, I'm going to cut things short. So usually I have import Pandas as PD, but this time I'm just working with series, and just to save a bit of typing, uh, we have that. Also from Numpy Array. Those are the couple of key things there I'm going to use for this presentation. I'm not going to use date range at all, actually. Let's go on. That's what we're going to do first off is create a Numpy array. Okay, and we're going to call it A. Okay, now just some values here: 0.1, 1.2, 2.3, 3.4, 4.5, 5.8. Actually, let's jig them around a bit. Let's just start off at 1.2. 2.33, 3.14, that's pi. Okay. And actually, I'm going to have just 5 here. So let's run that, and let's print out A. Okay, actually, just sort of one thing you notice that it doesn't print out for 5 point. It actually just prints out exactly what we need there, so that it doesn't print out 5.00. Just notice that for later on. A little bit of information about A. It's a NumPy ND array. That means and ND means n dimensions, as in you could have multi dimensions with NumPy. Length is the number of elements, and there's 6 elements there, so we have 6. Print is to do with the fact that that's actually not really to do with a Python thing. It's more to do with actually working with notebooks. If you have a cell here and you just want multiple outputs, print is just a handy way of just getting 2 short bits of information out from the same cell, or multiple bits of information. It's just a handy thing for presentation purposes with these notebooks. So what we're going to do now is create an Pandas series, and I have this series here called My Series. Okay, so this is my new series, and what I'm going to do here is use this command here, series. Usually, actually, just this time around, I sort of dropped it, but PD series is the way I would usually do that. PD is for Pandas, but let's just keep things simple. Series with a capital S. And what I do is I supply an argument here. This is a Numpy array in brackets, square brackets, and that is supplied as an argument to series. And that creates this thing called My Series, using those values there. And we have 5 elements: 0.1, 1.3, 2.63, 3.40, 4.60. Just notice actually that because 2.63 is written to 2 decimal places, everything is written to 2 decimal places. So for example, if I made this 1.113, everything's now 3 decimal places. Just a thing that Panda series does that is different from NumPy. Not that I can see how particularly important it is. Now earlier on we created this thing called A, our NumPy array, and what we could do is turn that into a series. It's essentially the same thing again. This is argument here is a NumPy array, and using this command series just turns it into a series. So we're going to call it My Series 2. Or my seer2, series, seer for series. Okay, so prints out the elements there, and also shows you the data type, and it's a float. Okay, so how many elements do we have? Never mind that, we have 6 elements. Okay, and let's look at the type again, and let's just get a sort of proper sense of the type. So first off, we have My Series 2. What type is that? That's a Pandas core series. Yep. Whereas A was a NumPy ND array. So there's just a sort of very important difference between how they're saved. That's a very, if you're coming from other programming languages, that it gets more into you don't notice these difference in types as much because they're not as important in other programming languages, but they are quite important in Python. Anyway, I continue. So what I'm going to do here now is create this new series S, okay, and it has all these values here: 0.1, 1.2, 2.3, 3.4, 4.5, and so on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them my new index. So let's just back up a bit here. I'm just going to back up to my series here, and Python is a zero index language. So we have 6 elements here. And because the first element of a zero index language gets the index 0. So 0 is the first one, 1 is the second one, and 5 is the last of 6. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now that is the index there. Okay, but whereas you could specify your own index. So I specify it as a little named array here. A little array of names there, A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and let's run that. There we go. A 0.1, B 1.2, C 2.3, D 3.4, E 4.5. Okay. Now, what does that mean? We can actually use that to extract elements of a series. Okay, so I have the series here, A, B, C, D, E, with those indices, and I want to pick out the first. I want to pick out the element of the series that has the index A. Okay, so how do I do that? Essentially, in square brackets, put in, and in quotation marks, just name the index. Okay, so that's the same as taking out the first one. By the way, that is how you take out the extract the first element, or the element with index 0 from an array, from a series. Okay, so let's run that. So suppose I want to get the last one. The last index is E, but that it's also in position 4. Let's run that. Again, 4.5. It's the last one there. Okay, so you can specify the location, the numerical index, or you can actually specify the name of the index in quotation marks to extract particular elements of your series. You can do more than that. You can actually pick out multiple elements of your series. So if you want to pick out multiple elements of your series, okay, so you have the square brackets for subsetting, okay, that's the outside ones, and in the inside ones what you can do is specify an array of indices, or index names, okay. So we have an array here, A and C, and we specify that as to the argument that we're going to sort of subset S by, our series S, and that will just bring you back the 0 element, the first element and the third element. Okay, so 0.1 and 2.3. The other way of doing that is actually you don't have to specify the names, you can specify the locations there as well. So 0 and 2. The thing there is just actually you're specifying as an argument a Numpy array, if you get me. And the outside brackets are just, we're going to subset by whatever within these brackets. Okay, so so you can keep track of that. There's also a couple of other things you can do. I'm going to wrap it up here. You can print out everything up to the second element. Okay, so this is the everything up to the second element, not inclusive, or sorry, it's not the second element, the element with index 2. So if I want everything up to the element of index 4, let's do that. So everything up to index 4, so that's 0, 1, 2, 3, not 4. That will give me the first set of the first all of the first few elements of the series. Okay, but not including 4. So likewise you can do for 3, everything up to index 3, but not including index 3, which in this case will give you A, B, and C. You can do logical subsetting as well. Okay, so this is going to pick out subset S by elements of S that are greater than 2. So here, the elements of S that are going to be greater than 2 are 2.3, 3.4, 4.5. You can change that around. You make it greater than 2.5. And so only elements that are greater than 2.5. So you get D and E, which is 3.4 and 4.5. That's a quick introduction Pandas series and how you sort of use them. I'm going to wrap it up there because 10 minutes is enough.